So, everyone, welcome to the Waste Detectives episode 2, series 1. And today we have Mike Larcombe with us. Hi, Mike.
Hello, Brian.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, of course. So, as you mentioned, my name's Mike Larcombe. Firstly, thanks for having me on, Brian. I think it's a great opportunity to be here to talk about some of this stuff. Recently, read your book, and I guess the background of Agile, Scrum development, and I guess more recently, moving into a different type of role for myself. It'd be good to talk about some of this stuff. It's quite eye opening. If I'm honest. So yeah, thanks for having me. I've been in the Agile world for probably about 5-6 years. So yeah, now I've moved around the various organizations, but in current position, the book really resonated with me and others.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, it's glad it resonated. And I could see from your profile before that you'd been in a quite a senior sort of Scrum Master coaching sort of role. Once you read the Waste Detectives, did you actually use any of those techniques back in your role?
Yeah, definitely. I think the key bit is just it enables people to start thinking about waste. So that was a big gap for us, I think, in the sense that we were always, looking at the work, visualizing it. The team were talking about the work, but from a measurement point of view, how are we actually looking at waste itself and using that to our advantage, so we're able to actually use the data that we're collecting to help us to make informed decisions. And it kind of helped us then to elevate, small issues that we thought were just, that just happens. It's just a thing that occurs and you just deal with it. To actually, visualizing that specifically as waste, where you're then able to look at the time that something is spent in a particular state, how you can use that information then to have really great conversations with suppliers and with other teams to help to unlock things so they actually start to perform a little bit quicker, and you just create more efficiency within the systems that you're working with. So yeah, it's fantastic. Got to be fair.
Oh, well, it's a fair play. That's pretty cool, isn't it? And so using that, as a Scrum Master, you're in the teams, you've got your flow rates, you've got your control charts. Did you sort of like use those control charts with the data to see are there any exceptional causes and retrospectively go back and look at the waste and maybe try and get some knowledge, or how did it work for you?
Yeah, it's. I think control charts is a good one to touch on. You get to see issues in various clusters, so you can see there's a gathering. Whether something's taking a lot longer than you thought. So let's say, argument's sake, the team we had an overall lead time of about 4 weeks to deliver something end to end. We're able to look at the outliers, and we're able to see that there's a couple of issues here that were actually taking about 15 weeks to deliver overall. So it really helped us through the control charts to drill in and to look at those specific issues and find the themes around why things were taking so long. So we definitely saw a reflection, through using some of the visuals that we were putting together and reports, if you like. And we're actually seeing that was actually adding benefit and bringing to life a lot of the work that the teams are working on through some of those kind of key metrics.
Yeah. And sometimes, I know I wrote in the book about in areas you can get resistance to change, and taking those individuals in your teams with you, sort of, did you spot any resistance and any sort of like words of wisdom that you found from, unlocking that resistance, if you found any at all, to take individuals with you, to be curious and to want to come on that journey?
Well, I think this is why having a big, bright yellow book helps, because it's quite eye-catching. Yeah. So if you want to incite or generate curiosity in people, you've definitely chosen the right color, because I think it really helps to, it's quite eye-catching. But yeah, I think in terms of resistance to change, you find that everywhere you go. But it depends on what type of characteristics you have as an individual. But I think what the book helps to do is it brings to life some of those characteristics, so it actually helps you just really start to deeply think about some situations you could be in and how you can apply that in situations with people and start to change relationships to start to break down that resistance to enable a better transformation or head in a certain direction.
No,
So
that's
yeah,
great. Yeah. And yeah, just a bit of an insight. Sorry, I interrupted you there. So just a
all
bit
right.
of an insight into the yellow of the book color. I was going to go sort of orange, bright orange or green, and but my book coach Graham has been a lifelong friend. He said, "I think we should go for yellow," and I was like, "Well, why do you think we should go for yellow?" He said, "It's the Princess Catherine's royal colour of the year, and that's the in colour at the moment." So he said, I think we should go for on vogue and go for yellow. So yellow wasn't my decision. Graham was a fantastic
Yes.
editor and said, right, look,
Yeah.
I'm just going to follow your style. So we went for yellow. So it's the Andy chose the title of the book, actually, The Waste Detectives. So I didn't when myself and Richard finished the book. We didn't have a title, so he chose our title and he picked the colour. So
Yeah, no, fair enough. He's kind of packaged this all together. So there's method in the madness of the yellow.
there's method in the madness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's proper good, really good. But I mean, I don't want to flip this round, so I'm asking you questions. But kind of what inspired you to write the book? I mean, that's a big burning question.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
got.
So I met Richard 3 or 4 years ago, and we met at an event, and he talked about a concept that he'd done with a team, and it had worked for a team. But I could see how that could scale through my data warehouse because in a misspent youth, I used to design data warehouses. I could see how that could scale with a concept of a tool like Jira. And it's just then I think about, well, theoretically it would work, but could it work in a team? So then working it through, I could see end to end how it could work logically. But you could, so then, I thought, well, how do we build up the method to find waste, find knowledge? But then you didn't know what waste you were going to find, then how to unpick it, what themes of delay are in there, how you can look at the data. And then once you started on that journey and you're curious and you're seeing it's adding value and can add value to teams, and you think, well, hello, this is a bit of a gap in the market here. This is actually, you're getting knowledge, time, capacity, that if you find that and strip it out, that's a real benefit to organizations. So I suppose a little bit of a geek in me actually thinking there's a problem here and I want to go after it. So, but I didn't, myself and Richard, didn't know where to go. And I spent probably 12, 18 months doing the method. And then once I'd finished the method and got it in place, I had a barbecue in lockdown with Graham. And
Socially distanced, of course.
yeah, it was the rule of six. It was the rule of six. We were all out to play, so we're having a barbecue, and Graham was telling us how he was coaching somebody on how to write a book in America. And I thought I could do that. And I thought, what would I write a book about? And I thought, why not write a book about the method that I've just created? And then just about to go into it, well, Richard had given me the seed idea for the method. So I thought, well, I felt a bit, I thought I've got to include Richard on the journey. So I gave Richard a call to say, look, do you want to come on the bus and ride a bus? Get on the bus and write the book. And Richard had on his bucket list a thing that he wanted to write a book. So I tapped into something that he wanted to do. And then he came on that journey to write the book. I must admit, writing a book of that type of thing is not on my bucket list. There's slightly other things than that, but on Richard's, let's do a book. So he's ticked off one of those things that he wanted to achieve in life. So it was
an impressive thing to do. I think it's always like I want to do it. I think from seeing it and what you guys have produced is quite inspiring. Because you always kind of you pick up a book, you read it, if it's a storybook or if it's actually a book about a particular technique or a practice, and it's like, who sat there and kind of put all this information together? So I guess the journey that you guys have been on has really helped to kind of establish this really directive and, if I'm being honest, quite insightful book that can help organizations to actually make some really, really great informed decisions. But I think the biggest buzz, though, is the awareness it just creates for teams. in identifying and understanding what waste is, and it's not a bad thing. It's a positive.
It's amazing how many teams will come in and actually, you know, they go through the normality of this is how it works. But once you understand those constraints that are in place and you can unpick them and say, well, actually, we don't have to live with these things. We can continuously improve. And it's just flipping that on into the mindset that we are allowed to improve our own area or areas connected to our areas, and things will go quicker. So it's
because one thing I found, actually, you just triggered a thought in my head. So one thing I found through reading it is it taps into a lot of systems thinking kind of techniques as well, in the way that you look at work and how systems connect together, and not systems as in like technology systems like a server or a particular application, but like teams of people and organizations, and the way all of that connects together. It was find it really helpful.
That's a good point, actually, because a lot of areas look at dependencies between teams and where are we dependent, and this is where we're logically dependent. And traditional waterfall methods will say these are where the dependencies are. But using the waste detectors techniques and methods, you can actually highlight where the real dependencies are, where the interaction and pain points are, and it backs it up with data. So you start to see, okay, we've got a pinch point between either these two teams or these two's area or these teams and this third party. But you can then see the scale of delay that's causing your flow of products. So it adds weight to that. And with the systems thinking point, so if you look at the model for study, you look at the purpose of the organization, the value and failure demand, and then the constraints, the system conditions. So and the waste. So the waste detector gives you that element that feeds into that systems thinking model for study.
Yeah, it's just absolutely spot on. Yeah, it's been really good. Yeah. That's the biggest thing, really. It's just helping people understand the system that they work in.
Yeah.
Some of those constraints you can come across. But yeah, it's been really good. So yeah, whenever there's another book coming out, I'm sure we'll be grabbing hold of that one.
Yeah. Well, I have written a second book. We just started editing at the moment, but myself and Graham have decided to edit at a slower pace than we did at the first book. So it'll be towards the end of the year. We're going to go a lot slower. Plus, I found the second book harder to come to. But
is there any particular use case in the second book at all?
So the second book the first book was around the method. The second book is around the scaling and how you're scaling and the commercial importance of waste and a bit of storytelling and that sort of thing as well. So it comes into that. So it's more the fundamentals of how you could do it as a change consultant or a change practitioner. So if you were to come in and having to chat to leaders or having to go through this method to
that's good.
Say, do you want this? Because you're gonna have to need to influence people and need to have storytell. You need to say, why do you want to do it? Why is it commercially important to us? So it's just methods and techniques to go.
And you know what, the storytelling bit's really important, and I guess just overall, like how you start conversations through identifying and visualizing waste in this capacity, it really starts to enable that.
Yeah.
Which that's going to be that's excited.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to get it out. So it's been great to have you on today, Mike.
Thanks for having me. It's nice, pleasant surprise to be accepted after reaching out.
Well, no, thanks. It's always good to hear that from a reader. So somebody who's actually read the book and, not just stuck it back on the shelf and say, I'll come back to that later, and actually, enjoyed it and done some of it in their role.
Look, you've picked the right colour. The book's a bit too loud to be put back on the shelf.
Well, what I might do is when we get to the end of the year, we're picking a colour. What I might do is I might reach out to you and, give you, say, what do you think of these two colours or three colours? So they are going to be pretty loud colours next time as well.
I reckon you stick with the yellow. I think it's good. Was it submarine yellow?
Okay. Good. Well, it's nice to chat to you, sir. So
Yeah, no, you too, Brian. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Over and out.
Thanks, everyone. So that's the end of Waste Detectives Series 1, Episode 2, and we'll meet you all on Episode 3 next time. Bye-bye.